Welcome to... So we'll play the intro first. What am I even doing? Welcome to episode 31 of Take Up a Tea. I'm, as always, your host, Brody Robertson, and I forgot to check if my scenes are working, so let's actually do that right now. Yep, cool. Okay. You know, I spent some time trying to get some stuff set up this morning, and then I just completely forgot to test, something actually important for the show. I was trying to fix up this weird bit of lighting on... what side? This side. This side of my face. You might notice, if you're watching the video version, that there's this slight ring, I guess? And I'm not sure how to deal with it. I've been trying to deal with it all morning, and it's just not happening. I think the best way to address it might be to get a point light and stick it above, like, where I'm recording from, because that'll address some of the other weird shadows you're getting as well, because I've only got a light off to the right and... Actually, is that your right? No, that's your left. Okay, off to this side and off to this side. I should just flip my camera around and then it won't be an issue anymore, but yeah, I've always had weird lighting problems. Now that I have the microphone here, which I also didn't check if it's working, or recording at the right level, so we'll just do that right now as well. Yep, cool. OBS isn't messing with my settings. That's a first. I guess there is a first for everything. But anyway, yeah, I've had these 2-point lights for a while, but when I moved the microphone in front of me like this, it sort of forced me to move one of my lights, because one of the lights was a bit, I guess, further backwards. But if I put it where it was, then if you watched my main channel content and I leant forward a tiny bit, basically my half my face was being covered by a shadow, and yeah, you don't want that. Anyway, shouldn't be too difficult to fix. I think there's you can get mounts that are similar to what's on the Logitech C920. I'll bring that up if you've never seen that webcam. You've probably seen it. It's a C920. It's the webcam that everyone and their dog owns. This one right here. So it's got this little mounting bracket sort of. Why is it $160? Anyway, we'll leave that for a bit. I might come back to why webcams are stupidly priced. It's got this little I guess you'd call it some sort of friction mount that you usually use for a monitor or I guess a monitor. And I think there's similar things you can get that have is it a 3 1/4 inch screw? That's the standard, whatever the standard camera mount is. It might be 3 1/5 inch or something like that. I don't remember the exact mount is. They're always just listed as just generic camera mounts, so it's not really that big of an issue. Do I have one around me here that I don't need right now? Let's find something. I should have a bunch. Yes, I do. Okay, here we go. I've got a bunch of just camera mounts sitting around because they were cheap on eBay. Oh, now my monitor's shaking. Okay, don't knock the desk. Yeah, whatever this mount is right here, if you're watching the video version, I think it's 3 1/4 inch, but I don't know. I just buy what the standard camera mount is. The only one that's different than the standard mount from what I've seen is the GoPro mount, which is a tiny bit bigger. But yeah, if you just go on eBay and look up camera mounts, you'll find these ones. There's a slightly modified version of this that isn't as robust. Don't buy it. Specifically look for the one that looks like this. If you need camera mounting gear and you want to buy it for $2, get whatever the one that looks like this is, because they're actually really solid. The other ones you can get, they sort of start, I guess, getting wobbly after a few bumps. This one, you can just chuck at a wall and it's still going to be working just fine, because it's got this steel mount inside, or steel bolt that's actually locking it in. The other ones have a plastic bolt, and obviously the plastic bolt is going to start to warp eventually. This can warp because the there's obviously plastic around the main mounting bolt, but the main bolt that you're actually screwing into, that one actually is steel or some sort of metal. That's not going to just start deforming. But that's not the point I was trying to get to there. The point I was getting at there was I'm probably going to get a similar sort of mount for this that has a camera mount on it, and then mount my light on that. I'm probably going to get another Neewer just because they've been completely solid for me up until this point. If you don't know, the lights I'm specifically using are the Neewer 176. Yeah, the 160s got phased out? That's the word. They got phased out in favor of the 176s because it's the exact same light except there's just more LEDs on it. So obviously the 176 stands for the number of lights. And yeah, they've been really solid. And the newer version of the 176s actually have a silver backplate. And the nice thing about the silver backplate, does it show it on this one actually? Can we see it? No, I think this is actually using the older sort of model. I think it's this side. Oh, I'm gonna just do it right now. No, okay, it's on the other side. So the older model of the 176s, they had a black backplate, and the newer ones have a silver backplate. Now, if you know anything about keyboard lighting, for example, on the more higher end, like LED, or not LED, actually no, LED is probably better because it doesn't really work as well on an RGB keyboard. So if you say so actually I don't know if you can really get these in the same sort of way anymore, but back when we were first starting to get like colored lights on keyboards in a really frequent manner, you'd get like red, you'd get blue, you'd get green. And early on they had a black backplate. And the problem with that is that the black backplate, I guess, absorbs some of the light. Whereas if you were to use the same color as the light, what's going to happen is it's actually going to reflect more of the light and make it seem like it's brighter. I guess for an RGB one, you could just use a silver backplate and just rely on reflection in that way. I'm not an expert in that regard, but I assume that a silver backplate would be better than a black backplate. But if you can match the color, that's going to be the best. And that's what gets done with these Neewer lights now. But the problem is they didn't actually like make any changes to the like product pages or the numbers they're listing on Amazon or anything like that. They just basically replaced it. And it's like, oh yeah, we have the new Neewers now. So you might get the old one, you might get the new one. When I bought this first one, this one's the one I've had on your right side. I've had the longest. I think this was the one I bought back when I first bought lighting for my channel. When I was still in that room over. Did I ever mention where it was? I don't remember. When I was at the old place, the first light I had back then, that was that light, and the other light I was using was my window. Then eventually I was like, okay, I need to record sometimes when the lighting is not perfect. So I went and bought the second one, and that one actually does have the silver backplate. And I just looked at it. Don't look at it because you're going to be blinded. Good suggestion there. Don't look at your studio lights if they are on because they are bright. Should be obvious. I've made the mistake plenty of times before though, and you know, I'm gonna keep doing it probably. So, where was I going with this? Right, I was trying to fix up the lighting for this. So, it shouldn't be too difficult to get mounts like that. Like, eBay is actually a pretty good place to get camera gear. I know it probably doesn't seem like the best place to go, especially because of how much some creators spend on their camera gear. Obviously, don't go buy your light batteries on eBay. Bad idea. Or don't go buy your lights on eBay. Probably a bad idea as well. But if you're buying things like, say, camera mounts, or you're buying knockoff Gorilla Pods, or you're buying, I can't actually show you that one. It's off to the side. Or you're buying, say, light stands. In that case, buy them off eBay because it's not gonna matter. Like, oh, my light stand's slightly wobbly. Like, okay, doesn't matter. Oh, my knockoff Gorilla Pod isn't branded as a Gorilla Pod. It still works exactly like a Gorilla Pod does, and it's a tenth of the price. You know what? We're going to see how much these fake GorillaPods are on eBay right now. Obviously, you can still buy regular ones if you want to. Not my suggestion, though. Oh, here we go. Here's another one. Let's say you want sound foam. Obviously, if you're trying to make like a proper studio, like a proper recording studio, I guess, then yeah, you probably want better sound foam. But if you're just some dude who wants a bit of sound foam, look at this. 12-pack, $26.99 Australian. Yeah, just do that. Anyway, let's see if we can find some of these. What was I looking for? GorillaPods, right. GorillaPod. Here you go. Wrong one. There we go. Wrong side. So, we have flexible octopus tripod stand GorillaPod for universal phone GoPro camera DSLR. This is basically the one that I bought $13.95 Australian to $18.95 Australian. The reason it's a price range is because there are 3 sizes. Just buy the largest one. It's only $18. Yeah. And you can even find cheaper ones, like for example, $14.95, $15.95, $11.99 to $15.99. Some of them pretend like they have brand names, some of them don't. They're all pretty much the same. I have had basically no problem with any of them. Some of them are slightly different, but they all come from pretty much the same manufacturer. Some of them come with a GoPro mount, some of them don't. Some of them have this like little, where is it? This little plate thing on it, but you can always remove the plate anyway, so it's not really that big of a deal in the first place. This is how I always use it. That's a GoPro bolt on there. And normally if the GoPro bolt is on there, you can usually flip them upside down, hold the bolt in, or hold it in with like a Phillips head, no, not Phillips head, flathead screwdriver, and then get a Phillips head and just turn the bolt out basically, and you'll be good to go to use it with anything else. Some of them, the bolt will fall out if you do take the GoPro bolt off, but it's fine once you have like a camera or a light on there, because then obviously that's going to be like holding the bolt in while the bolt is holding the camera in. But yeah, it's just something to keep in mind when you are buying these random things off of medium or mount. What is mount size? Oh, that's a... Ooh, I actually need one of those. Yeah, I was looking for a replacement for this guy right here. This is my my selfie stick, and it's a little wobbly. You can probably hear that. Yeah, it's not the best. So I might actually go and buy one of these phone mounts and then get another GorillaPod or some. Do I have a GorillaPod sitting around? I don't think I have a spare. No, I do. I think I have 2 spare ones actually. Yes, they actually do. They are being used to prop up my light. Yeah. And now my light's fallen over. Cool. Yeah. So if you look at, here we go. This one's a bit stiff because I haven't actually used it before. I bought like 4 of them back when I was buying ones because I was like, oh yeah, I might need them for things. This is really stiff actually. Yeah, the problem is because they are knockoffs, they are, yeah, not perfect. It sounds like it's breaking. It's just that I haven't moved it in a couple of months, and they get stiff when that happens. But that's probably for the best, to be honest, because then it's not going to move while you're trying to use it. But yeah. Most of them are less awful to use than this. I probably wouldn't use this if you're trying to like record with a phone, just because you won't really get that much reach on it. But if you're trying to say, actually, if you combined it with one of these guys, so let's see. Oh no, you have to put it in like that, don't you? I think this is also one of the smaller ones as well. But if you did this, here we go. There you go. So you put the mount on this side, then you can or you can get some reach then, and then, you know, walk around like this. It's not the best solution. You'd probably be better in the end if you went and got yourself a DSLR and did that, just because you can get, based on some of the lenses you can get, you can get some pretty neat looking angles like that. But the only problem with these, as I said, is because they're so cheap, you do have some of them that aren't perfect, but for the most part, they'll do just fine. Yeah, that definitely was one of the smaller ones. You can get large GorillaPods as well. Plus, obviously, if you want to, you could always chain these little camera mounts together as well. And I've had varying levels of success with them. When you've had them for a while, or when you don't, I guess, tighten them up for a while, they do start to get a bit flimsy, but this one is pretty rock solid. I guess if you have some weight on it, it might be a little bit different, but, you know, for most situations, it's going to be just fine. Now, did the lighting in this room change somehow? Give me one sec. Yeah, it seems like it's gotten darker. I don't know how that's happened. Maybe the room was... Oh, no, I know exactly what's happened. Maybe the room was brighter because there was more light from outside, or maybe it's because I'm not pointing my backlight in the correct location. This is called quality content here. Let's actually replace that with that one. That's slightly remotely more solid. Not really. Okay. Well, I'll find a better way to have that sitting there. Yeah, this backlight, basically, I've mentioned it in previous episodes. It's sitting in a drawer right now, and to prop it up just a tiny bit, it's sitting on one of the GorillaPods, and also now a big stick of dice. So, yeah, it's you know, not the best solution, I would say. It's a solution. Yeah, a solution is probably the best way to go about that. Let's see if we can find these camera mounts as well. Obviously, these are Australian prices and they're for Australian eBay, but the same is going to be true basically any country. It's just a bunch of people buying stuff off places like Alibaba and then just flipping it on eBay. So really, you could probably go and get it cheaper on Alibaba if you wanted to go and deal with all of that. But we're here on eBay. So let's see. Camera mount? Is that what it's called? I could just go and look. Camera, here we go. Camera screw mount. I'm not showing this on the screen, am I? No, I'm not. Okay. That one. So, I would say... Okay, these are the GoPro ones. Unless you need a GoPro, just don't even bother touching these because they're not going to fit anything else. We have more GoPro things in here. This is a GoPro one. Why can I not find any of the regular ones? Let's see if... I'll go into my purchase history and see if we can find... the one that I bought before. My eBay, is that how that works? Purchase history. Yeah, I'm not showing it on the screen, cool. I don't think there's anything in here that you shouldn't see, but just in case, I don't know, an address shows up or something. That's what it was called. Okay. And yeah, it's 1¼ inch. Oh, yeah, 1/4 inch, not 1 1/4 inch. Where is it? I cannot find them now. Here we go. Okay, so I haven't tested ones like this one here. It might be okay. I can't tell you anything about it. Then you've got these, I guess, what are they called? Screwball head hot shoe magic arm mount adapter SLR camera cold boot tools LG. Am I on am I on Wish right now? What is this? What is that title? Pretty much all of them named like this, but I can't seem to find too many of the ones I saw before. This is the one that you should get. So the universal adjustable. Okay, maybe if we search for that. So if I search for universal adjustable cold hot whatever cold hot shoe mount, sure. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so go search for this long nonsense right here. So universal adjustable cold hot shoe mount, and then you'll find a bunch of these. You'll have some sponsored posts as well, but it doesn't really matter. Yeah. So anything that looks like this, some of them will look different. Some of them will use the exact same picture. This is the exact same picture, but they edited in a picture of a light. Yeah, get those. I can't really recommend anything else, to be honest. Obviously, if you want to go and buy proper mounting gear, that's a bit different. But if you are on a budget or you are very cheap, yeah. I don't know how well this will work, actually. Small rig, universal microphone, shock mount, adapter mic stand with cold shoe pinch. I know that won't fit a Blue Yeti. So one thing about microphones is if you are buying a Blue Yeti, you need to get a Blue Yeti mount. Most other microphones are not like this, because most other microphones are designed in a sensible way. This one, however, though, is designed specifically to be only fitting things made for the Blue Yeti, because it is a very, very heavy microphone. It is a very big microphone, and the sound quality doesn't really justify it. I think if you're getting the Blue Yeti X as well, whatever it's called, the one that a lot of the Logitech sponsored streamers are using, then you probably will need to get the same sort of Blue Yeti mount. But if you went with like a Blue Yeti Nano or whatever, that one I think does fit regular camera mounts. But yeah, this is probably too small, and I imagine the bracket in here probably is not strong enough to hold it. Now, it very well could hold it. It might list that it does, but it probably doesn't. It probably doesn't, as I thought. I think the prices on these guys went up as well. I think when I bought them, they might have only been like $7 or something, and I bought a bunch of them, which is probably for the best now, considering how absolutely fucked prices are. Yeah. What in the world is this thing? Sellen's triple heads hot shoe mount 3-in-1 adapter speed light light holder bracket. What? What is this? Is this like just a triple light mount or something? It's branded, I guess. But it's real cheap. I don't know what this is supposed to be. Yeah. Okay, here you go. So if you want to use these guys, these are... what are they called? Clamp mounts, I guess? What are they calling them here? Small rig, 1/4, 360 articulate, multifunction, double ball head with crab claw AU. If you want to get a clamp mount, you could use it if you're trying to put it on some sort of bar here. So I guess this would be like a camera rig sort of thingy. I don't know too much about camera gear specifically. This is a DJI thing of some sort, so I'm guessing, I don't know, some sort of camera rig thingy. I don't know. Yeah. That will all be good if you want to do that. I think that's pretty much all I can talk about camera gear for now. Maybe when I go and buy myself a new camera, get myself like a mirrorless, get myself like a, as I've said before, probably will get like an what is it, A5000 or A500, whatever it is. The one that most people get if they're getting a entry-level Sony mirrorless. Because I know that the M50 from Canon, I hear it looks better. However, if I use it for the podcast, apparently it can only record up to an hour, which is not very convenient. I probably want to not do that. The level of quality difference, I've watched videos on them, and they seem basically the same to me. I feel like once you're entering the realm of mirrorless, for most content on YouTube, you're probably basically hitting the level you need to hit at. Obviously, there's some people like Linus Tech Tips who are like, oh, we're going to buy a $10,000 red camera. Sure, if you want to do that, go ahead. But I feel like that's a little overkill for most people. Once you've spent $1,000 on a camera, I guess it's like 500 or 800 in the US. That's probably gonna be enough. But I am someone who isn't like doing a photography or a videography channel. In those cases, yeah, I can see why you might want to buy more expensive gear. But yeah, for the sort of content I do, or just, you know, commentary videos or anything where the quality of the video isn't the focus of the video, it's probably best to not do that. Yeah, maybe go get, because I would say that getting yourself better audio gear is probably going to be better for most people anyway. There is I guess a point of diminishing returns. Like, obviously, the Blue Yeti, it's functional, but it's definitely not great, I would say. I don't know what the point of diminishing returns for a microphone really is. I think once you're at the level of using XLR microphones, then you're probably at a reasonable level. Like, if you're spending, say, like $1,000 on a microphone, let's actually, what's a company that makes, does Sennheiser make microphones? I know they do headphones. You know, we're gonna go look up, good YouTube, XLR microphone. Sure. We'll see what the first thing that is recommended over on Google is. Best microphones for YouTube videos with top creator picks. Okay. What are we recommending here? So Rode NT USB, no. The Blue Yeti, definitely no. Don't buy the Blue Yeti. Okay. Audio Technica we'll go with. That is a XLR microphone. It seems like it's a... Yeah, it's an XLR microphone. Anyway. So that's $150. So that's actually considerably more than that. Okay, let's find out what that is on the Australian pricing. I would say it's probably in the realm of 250, 300. I was very close. 259. Yeah, there we go. 259. So this seems to be a entry-level XLR. I haven't listened to it. I imagine you could probably go higher than this and not be wasting your money. But like with the cameras, there's definitely a point where the returns you get are very, very diminishing. Obviously, this will probably sound better than my Blue Yeti does. But let's go into Store DJ and go by price high to low. Yeah, here we go. Okay, let's go condenser microphones. Price high to low. Are you going to... Okay. Okay, here we go. So, if you're just a regular YouTuber, you probably don't need a $3,800 microphone, for example. Maybe you do. Maybe you're trying to do songs. Maybe you're trying to do things of that nature. But I can't imagine that the amount of improvement over something that's, say, $3,000 would really justify the $800 price tag. As I've said, not an expert in this. Maybe it does. Maybe it absolutely does. But until I hear them for myself, I won't be able to make that justification. Or I wouldn't be able to justify that purchase to anyone, for example. And I've heard people that have, you know, $2,000 microphones and people who have $500 microphones, and the difference is very, very negligible. In some instances, as I said, if you're trying to do musical content, maybe it will be really negligible. Maybe it will be really apparent. But unless that's something you're doing, yeah, I would say there might be better place to spend your money on, especially if you're doing, say, gaming content. Instead of buying a $1,000 microphone, maybe you could buy a $500 microphone and then put $500 towards, say, a streaming PC. So you're still spending the same amount of money, but you're getting... I would say that having a streaming PC is probably going to be a better return on your money than having a, you know, a $1,000 microphone. Because there will actually be a big difference between those two. So if... Okay, the audio difference between a microphone of that price and the microphone that's more expensive, there will be a difference, but most people probably won't notice it. Whereas if you have a streaming PC, for example, then you could actually play the games you want to play at a higher quality and then record it on a separate PC and still be able to record at the same, or maybe even record better than you were doing before, because now you don't have to worry about it lagging out your games, for example. So in that respect, you can get a bit of extra value there. Or you can even use that recording PC as a render PC, for example. So you can go and edit everything on your main PC, and then when you are done editing it, move it over to the other one, render it there, and then just keep working. So you can see how even though you're spending the same amount of money, there's still better ways it could be spent. Obviously, you don't necessarily have to spend all that money. Like, you may get to a point where you have, say, $1,000 microphone, $1,000 webcam, a streaming PC, a streaming PC and a capture PC, a streaming PC and a regular gaming PC, workstation PC, and you've got your lighting perfectly set up. And at that point, you don't necessarily have to keep spending on the channel. Maybe at that point, or okay, let's say you also have like a perfect studio as well. Well, at that point, maybe spending extra money on the channel isn't really the best idea. Or at least spending money on extra gear might not be the best thing. If you still have extra money at that point, maybe then you can start considering, okay, well, if I'm going to keep investing in the channel, what could I actually invest in that would make sense? And then you could say, okay, well, maybe I will invest in an editor, or maybe I will invest in some classes to teach myself how to speak better, which is something I should probably do. I know that there's a lot of people who recommend doing improv classes, especially if they're doing streaming work. So maybe that's something I'll look into at some point. I reckon that could be fun. So yeah, you get an editor, you could get a, what's the word? A partnership manager. So get someone who can actually work out those ad agreements for you, because I have no idea how to communicate with the business. Like my main channel, close to 10,000 subs. I've had a few sketchy businesses come to me, a couple of key resellers, also known as we stole keys from other countries and then we're going to sell them. I'm not going to give their name out because I don't want to give them advertising, and yeah, I don't feel like particularly mentioning their company. Anyway, and there's other companies who I don't think sort of understand the content I do on my main channel and started trying to get me to do what's like ad agreements or ad partnerships for software that I would review on the channel, which is obviously a massive conflict of interest and is not going to happen. But if you have someone who you've employed, or at least employed in some sort of fashion, like maybe it's a very light contractual work or something, to actually find you those partnerships, I feel like someone who actually knows what they're doing would be much better at that than I ever will be and have any interest in ever being. Or in other places, maybe you get yourself an artist and upgrade your channel art, or if you go maybe in a different direction from that, maybe, as I said, you can invest in yourself and invest in tools to learn digital art, or tools to actually do digital art, which is something that I want to be doing at some point as well. I'll get back to that in a bit, but so even if you have all the perfect gear, there might still be other places where you can invest, but that doesn't necessarily mean you have to invest forever. Like, obviously there's some companies or some creators who end up starting up companies, like you have Linus Tech Tips, for example. But not everyone necessarily needs to go down that route. Like, you could have 1 million subscribers, 2 million subscribers, 3 million, and still be just a dude working in your basement, basically, which is basically where PewDiePie was up until fairly recently. He still doesn't have a company around him. He has, like, managers for different things, but he's still sort of just a dude. He's not like, okay, I'm going to build up this media creation business. Obviously, there's still, like, a little business around him with the people who do the things, but it's not the same scale as, say, Linus Tech Tips, for example, where they have, like, a big office building and things like that. And you have projects going on where I don't even think Linus even really knows they're going on in some respects. Just because there's that many people working for the company at this point, there's only so much a single person can do. I do definitely respect people who do want to go down that route at some point, but I can also very much respect the people who are like, okay, I started as a dude who's just making videos for fun. I'm going to end this as a dude who's just making videos for fun. Both of those are very respectable routes, and honestly, anyone who can make either of them work deserves all of the respect, basically. I feel like that was a better start to the podcast than I've had in a long time. I don't know. I felt sort of tired before I started recording this, but as soon as that camera came on, I sort of, I don't know, I livened up a bit, and I'm actually enjoying this episode for sure. Sadly, the original plans for this one couldn't go forward because I was supposed to have one of the developers on LibraryNomics come on this week, but his internet sort of visited the afterlife a couple of times. So yeah, his internet's been going on and offline pretty much all week, and he was behind on work, and it just didn't work out this week. So in the future, I'll get him back on probably after next week's episode, because next week I already have a guest lined up. So I reckon the following week after that is when I will get him on the show. What is that one? 33? 33 anything important? No. 35 will be the 7 weekly episode where I bring Connor on, so there's still, one episode after that to fill out, which I don't know who I'll bring on. Maybe I'll hit up Brian or something. Yeah, I've been meaning to ask him to come back on the show, because it's been a long time. Brian Jenks, in case you weren't around back when I did that episode, at the time, we were both sort of considered to be Luke clones, and I feel like we've both come into our, I guess, own sort of content. Let's see if we can find it. Brian. I spelled it correctly? Yes, I did. Yeah, so it was a while ago at this point. It was about 4 months ago when Brian came on the show, and episode 12. Wow. That was a while ago. Okay. Yeah, so both of our channels have changed drastically since that point. I mentioned him the other week. I don't remember exactly what week it was. 2 weeks ago, maybe? I think it was the last solo episode where I was talking about a bit about the Linux community. He's sort of doing macOS content now and programming content, which is awesome. I really appreciate that. I've been watching a couple of his videos actually, and they actually are really good. And it is nice to see that he's sort of making his own sort of niche. I don't see that much I guess macOS content from the perspective of someone who's been using things like i3 a lot. So he actually uses like tiling window managing inside of macOS, which I didn't even know was a thing. Apparently it is. So he's using that and doing like R content and C++ content. Obviously the programming stuff isn't very unique, but doing it with the in the context of a tiling macOS is sort of a bit different. Plus, he wears a suit in all of his videos, or at least a suit shirt, which I don't know why he does, but it looks a little bit professional. I'm gonna stop playing with this thing because it's making a lot of noise. I'm gonna play with this thing as well. I don't know if anyone's actually noticed it before, but I tend to fiddle a lot when I'm actually recording the podcast. I usually have it below the camera, but yeah, I tend to fiddle quite a bit. And if I'm not, I sort of just wave my hands around. People have like given me a lot of shit on that on the main channel. And there's not much I can really do about that. I guess I could sort of fiddle with this while I'm recording a video, but if I have my like hands on the keyboard as well, it doesn't work out like that. So that's the first yawn of the episode. So yeah, I tend to fiddle. This is really annoying. If it wasn't, if it wasn't that loud, maybe I'd keep doing that. But yeah, actually, leading on from that point about Brian, I did a video not too long ago that actually it didn't get a ton of views, but it seemed like a lot of people really, really enjoyed it, which I don't know. I feel like it's probably a good thing. Let's see if we can get to my channel and it's not going to start playing sound. Is it going to play sound? No, it's not. Good. I don't want to deal with that. We have this video right here. The Unix philosophy is more than just a slogan. So it didn't Oh, it didn't do terribly. It did like pretty well for most of my content, like 1.7, which is higher than normal. But a lot of people in the comment section of that video said this was the best video that I've ever done. And I sort of have to agree with them, to be honest. I felt like that video was really, really good. Obviously, there were some people who were like, oh, you just read off of the history of Unix. Like, yes, that's what the video was. And like, oh, it would be quicker to just read it myself. Like, no, it wouldn't be. But if you want to do that, feel free to do so. What I did was I basically did some research on Unix. If you didn't see the video, it was called The Unix Philosophy is More Than Just a Slogan, and the thumbnail said Unix Philosophy for Dummies. Basically, I went over what the Unix philosophy was and sort of the history of it, where we came from and where we are now, and sort of how we got to the slogan that we work with today. Because what's the normal slogan people go with? I've already forgotten the video. What is it? Something like make programs that do one thing. Yeah, that's what it is. Make programs that do one thing and do it well. That's typically what people refer to as the Unix philosophy now. However, the Unix philosophy is actually considerably more than that, and the original form of it actually wasn't even anywhere even remotely like that. And there's even other forms of it that refer basically only to algorithms, and those actually are accepted as forms of the Unix philosophy because it's not really a methodology in the same sort of fashion that something like Agile is, for example. This is sort of just the ramblings of old men who worked in Unix, and that sort of became the mindset of how you develop Unix applications. And I felt like this was a really well-researched video, and it seems like people, I guess, agreed with it because, yeah, it seemed to do quite well. Well enough, and I enjoyed it. So I'm thinking of actually starting up like a Unix, well, I guess a computing history series with a Unix bent. So maybe I'll talk about things like, I've got one video that I actually am already going to record next week, or I guess this week, the week that this goes up. I've already recorded it by the time this has been released. On the XDG specification, and I'll see if I can. Do I have a list of the topics I already have? I should. Yes, I do. So, where does Linux fit into the Unix history? So that would be, the tree that everyone always talks about where it's like, let's see if we can find it. Unix history. History of Unix. This one. Here we go. So I'm sure you've seen this picture before. Is that gonna... No, I want to just see the picture. Open image in new tab. There we go. So we've got this like timeline thing, and you've got the Unix time sharing system from Bell Labs, and then you've got like this Minix thing and Linux over here. I sort of wanted to talk about how we actually got to this point right here, because like people have seen this graph, or this, is it a graph? This image thingy. But I wanted to talk about like what Minix was, how it actually came into existence, and why Linus Torvalds actually decided to fork off of Minix and make his own thing. And then you can also talk about, say, like the GNU project as well. Actually, that's a topic right there. I didn't even think of that. Let's see. Why did the GNU project come into existence? There you go. There's you're already getting some what's the one I'm thinking of? Teasers. There we go. So, I don't know. I enjoyed the research for it, and I enjoyed making the video, and people seem to enjoy it, so might as well keep that going. Because I sort of need I don't need something like that. I sort of want a series on my channel that's sort of just like just a series, because obviously I've got my software showcase stuff, and I've got my weekly Vim videos and things like that, but besides that, I don't really have like, here's an ongoing series I do where it's like, okay, here's, maybe not every week, maybe like every 2 weeks, something like that. Here's the video that everyone can tune in for and enjoy it like that. I guess I could sort of make my Vim plugin stuff a sort of series, but it's not really connected in any sort of way like the history of Unix is. Now, I'm not going to be doing it in like chronological order or anything like that. It's sort of just going to be a random assortment of topics that catch my interest. So if someone ever actually has anything they want me to talk about, like maybe why does the C++ language exist or anything like that. Actually, we might put that on there as well. See, why does C++ exist? So if anyone actually has anything they want me to cover in that series, feel free to let me know. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be Linux even. It could be on the BSD side. It could be macOS. As long as... I guess even in that respect, it doesn't even have to be necessarily Unix, because I've got C and C++ on the list as well, but it has to have a Unix bent. So don't come and suggest something like, what's the Windows, the Windows shell script called? Like batch scripting. Don't come and suggest things like that. Maybe I could talk about like if that has any relation to the way that it's done on the Unix side, maybe that would be an interesting video. But if it's just some random Windows topic, I don't really think that fits into the sort of series that's there. Maybe I could do that in another series, but for this specific one, I want it to be, I guess, based around the history of Unix. And I feel like there's a lot to talk about there, even if it's not just like, I don't want to just do like, here's the Unix timeline. That's boring. That's something you'd get in like a introduction to computing lecture. Like, in 1971, here's when the Unix time-sharing system from Bell Labs was created. Then, in what was that? 1980, we had Xenix OS. Like, that's boring. I don't want to do it like that. I want to pick out interesting topics from the history of Unix and then expand upon them, because things like, say, with POSIX compliance, most people are probably not going to go out of their way to go look into what POSIX compliance is unless they desperately need it. So it's all well and good to say, I could just go and read this and it would take me like 15 minutes. But would you actually have done that? That's the thing that I'm trying to address here. Even though, yeah, it could have taken you 10 or 15 minutes to go and read all this yourself, which it won't. It will take you more like half an hour to an hour. But let's say it does. Were you actually planning to do so? And if you weren't, then giving people this, I guess, very nice entry point to it through the form of a video actually does, I guess, have a lot of value there. So that's sort of what I'm trying to achieve here, because as much as I like doing the software showcases, and there's basically infinite software out there, I do kind of want to address... I don't know if you heard that. I do kind of want to address some of those, dog's gonna bark now. Some of those problems that may actually show up in an introduction to computing class, but I approach them in a more interesting way than you probably were going to get there, because I've done those introduction classes, and usually you only get like, here's like a slide on what Unix is, unless you're doing like a class on Unix. But there's a lot of history there that is really interesting, and I hope I can present it in an interesting way. And as I said, more than happy to take suggestions on topics, and more than happy to take suggestions on presentation styles as well. Now, they're going to be edited in the sort of normal way that the normal way I normally do stuff. Sure, we'll go with that sentence. They'll be edited in the normal sort of style, so I'm not going to be having pictures on the screen or anything like that. If I need to do that, then I'll show them by just, switching scenes, because I'm lazy. So I might mess around with my scenes just to make it so it's a bit easier to show stuff in that respect, but I don't know. And I'm not too sure about the thumbnails for them either, because I have been experimenting with face thumbnails, which you might have noticed on the main channel. I've actually done 2 at the time of the recording of this one. There might be a 3rd one by the time this goes up, but we've got Not All Software Needs a Use, which I'm sort of experimenting with how my face should look as well. And then we have GNOME OS isn't real, it can't hurt you. Now, if you've seen any of my content, you probably realize that I'm not the same expressive sort of person that the Linux Gamer is, or Linus from Linus Tech Tips is. So you're not gonna get me doing like big old soy faces or anything like that. I've tried them and it just looks weird, and I can't do it. I like burst out laughing the second I see my face looking like that, and I can't actually get a good picture of it. So we're probably going to get more of this style right here, where it's... Can I zoom in on that? Is that going to let me do that? Yes, it is. Where it's like, oh, here's me smiling, which... I'll give you a secret for how to actually take a picture of yourself smiling. But, we have this one here. I was like, You don't know how long I was actually trying to get this picture for. Let's see if we can do it. Yeah, and I had my thing on a selfie stick. That's another thing that I need to do. If I get that camera mount, it's also going to let me use a light stand to actually take that picture, which is going to make my life so much easier, because trying to do that with like a selfie stick, not very easy. Plus, I can't do things with two hands then. I sort of only have the ability to work with one, which is not what I like to do. I like to, you know, if I'm going to be expressive, I'm going to be expressive with my hands. But yeah, you're probably going to see sort of this sort of style here. Maybe I'll try out the soy faces. It's not gonna end well though. I'm back to playing with this stupid thing that's really loud. Now, as for that trick about taking a picture of yourself smiling, or smiling with like your teeth out, because this is not something that I've ever worked out how to do. I'm like really bad at taking pictures like this. The way you do it, okay? Right? Here's the big brain approach to it, okay? What you do is you think of something funny and you start laughing to yourself like you're an absolute maniac. So you start trying to like force yourself to laugh, and eventually you're going to make yourself keep laughing because you realize what you're doing is really stupid. And when that happens, there's going to be points where you can get a really good teeth smiling picture. But normally, like, you probably notice that I don't know. When I smile, I typically don't smile with my teeth out because I feel like it looks weird most of the time. And kind of looks unnatural. Like if I try to do if you try to force it, it just looks kind of unnatural. But I don't know how people do it. People who are more skilled at faking their emotions than I am, I guess. But if you start forcing yourself to laugh, even though your laugh is complete bullshit, even though your laugh is complete bullshit, because you are laughing, it's still going to look like a fairly realistic smile. Now, there are probably people who are much better at this and people who can explain it in a much better way than I can, but go and force yourself to laugh. Just start chuckling to yourself like you're an absolute maniac and try to take a picture of yourself smiling, and you're going to see that it looks much better than like trying to force yourself like this. I don't know how to actually get... Like, I don't know how to move my face in this way when I'm not actually happy. Obviously, it seems to be possible, but I don't know how it's done. It feels weird. Like, I don't know how to get the right level of teeth showing to make it look like it's not... Like, I don't hate everything that's happening around me. Clearly, there's a way to do it, because people do it that are much more skilled at doing that than I am, but it's not the thing that I have any idea how to do. I don't know if you can hear that outside. I guess my housemate's selling more of her grandmother's stuff. I don't know. Not because, like, she's selling it because she's going into a home, not because she's just selling her stuff. In case anyone was worried there. Yeah. What else did we have on here? Oh, right. I forgot. I was actually... I didn't... Stop. I forgot for a second that I was actually a I forgot for a second there was actually a guest on someone's podcast recently. I don't know how he managed to do it, but his audio in the podcast actually sounds worse than it did on Discord. So I'll bring up the link to the video here. Actually, here we go. Oh Lord, where's that going? Where's the link? There we go. So the tweet says, new podcast guys got Brody on Linux on for a fun conversation, all kinds of topics to pick from. And the title of the video itself, yeah, I don't care. Let me go to BitChute. If you didn't know, Twitter's actually trying to do this stuff to BitChute links at this point. So the title of it is Tentacle Hentai History to Linux YouTubers on the Tomato Farm #1 featuring Brody Robertson. So the podcast is called On the Tomato Farm. If you want to go see the I guess why it's called that, go check out the podcast itself and you will see. I'm not going to read those out because I'm not going to read those out. BitChute has a lot of terrible comments. Yeah, so go check this out. He has only 4 subscribers on BitChute. I think he's at like 40 something on YouTube, but he's a supporter of the channel, so I will support him, I guess. As I said though, the audio, somehow his audio is worse than it was on my side of Discord. So I could have recorded his audio and yeah, it would have probably sounded better in the end. I don't know how he managed to, how he actually managed to achieve that. I've never seen anyone's audio better over Discord than it is in person. Maybe Discord was compressing it so much that it sort of hid how terrible his audio sounded. Because it was, I guess he might have had like, what is it? Push to talk on. So every time he like pushed to talk, you'd start hearing static in the background. And I forgot the static was actually a thing with microphones because I've got my like audio compressor and things set up. So I don't hear it on my side when I have, when I'm doing stuff through OBS. But if you are using a cheap microphone or if you're using something that's like built into a webcam, yeah, you will start to hear that static. I would say if you're going to be making any sort of videos, at the bare minimum, get yourself like a gaming headset. It's going to sound better than anything built into any laptop or built into any webcam. It's not going to sound great, but it will be guaranteed to sound better than... Yeah, just get yourself something. Most people have a gaming headset, and if you don't, get yourself like... Actually, no. If you need a dirt cheap microphone, go get yourself a Zalman ZM1. It is like a $15 lavalier mic. Now, you might think a $15 lavalier mic, that can't sound good, and that is where you would be wrong, because it is the best sounding lavalier mic for $15 on the planet. Now, I don't know how many lavalier mics there are for $15 on the planet. I guess it's $20. Yeah, $20 Australian. This thing sounds stupidly good. Now, obviously, being a lav, it is going to have like problems where if you shake your clothes, you are going to hear some noise, but that can be addressed by doing like stuff in OBS. So I actually might go and pick one of these up again, and because I used to have one, I used to actually use it when I didn't have a gaming headset, and this thing sounds stupidly good. I didn't believe it when I first heard about it. I was like, oh, there's no way this sounds good. I bought one. It sounds good. Now, that was before I knew much about audio, so I couldn't tell you if it still sounds good. It was released in 2008, but it's still going to be better than some other options out there. You can probably find some videos on this on YouTube as well. I'm honestly surprised this thing is still being made. But you can see how old this thing is. Like, look at this connector. You don't see modern audio equipment made with a bright red connector like this anymore. This is a relic of the past. But yeah, get some sort of microphone. Also, don't use push to talk if your microphone is really staticky, because having the static going on and off is going to sound more annoying than having the static just be always there. Because if the static's always there, you can always fix that up in post if you just go through Audacity or something like that. You can still do it if you like have it cutting on and off. It's just a little bit more annoying, and it might start to actually degrade the regular audio quality. Also, make sure your audio tracks or your audio is on different tracks, so even if it does degrade one side of the audio, the other side's still going to be fine, and you can sort of fix them up independently of each other. Because I've made that mistake plenty of times before, and then I was like, oh, well, I guess I can't fix my audio anymore. And that sort of explains the first 20 or so episodes of the show and why they sounded garbage, because I was recording on the same track, and then I realized, oh, one of the people is too quiet, so I have to like compress it, which is going to modify both of the people speaking. Don't do that. Just don't do that. My advice, as someone who's been making content for a year, I can say, if you need separate audio, try to get them on separate tracks. Now, I know it's a bit difficult if you're trying to do things like capture desktop audio. I think there are ways where you can split them out, at least. Oh, I know you can do so on Windows. I'm sure there's a way to separate it out on Linux as well. Maybe there's some way to create like fake audio interfaces through OBS, or not through OBS, through Pulse Audio or something. That I think that might theoretically be possible. I haven't tried to do it. I probably should, because then that'll make it so if I want to do game streaming, for example, that would be just considerably easier. Now, if I have a streaming PC, I can't really split the audio out in the same sort of way, because obviously it's going to all be coming through the HDMI cable, so it's going to be treated as the same audio track. So actually, maybe there are better ways to handle it. I don't know. Well, no. At least the microphone and the desktop audio will be separated, because you'd have the mic plugged into the streaming PC, but the desktop audio would all be mashed together. Unless there's some other way to handle that I'm not really thinking of. Yeah, maybe there is. I don't know. I haven't tried looking much into the streaming PC side. Some people probably won't like this, but when I do get myself a streaming PC or a capture PC, I'm probably going to put it on Windows, because it will just be easier. And the reason for that is because Streamlabs. Like, you can get Streamlabs working on Linux through things like the Qt OBS browser thingy, whatever it's called. But having the Streamlabs client is simply going to be easier. So if you don't know what Streamlabs is, because, I don't know, you've never watched the stream or anything, or you just don't pay attention to what the streamers are saying, Streamlabs is basically, it's actually a lot of things. So let's see if we can find pictures of it. No, you don't have pictures on your homepage. Of course you don't. Why would you do that? Okay, well, okay. Streamlabs is a couple of things anyway. So this is Streamlabs OBS. If you don't know OBS, the Open Broadcaster software, and this is basically an extension on top of OBS that makes it so it's much easier to work with stuff. So you have much better ways to do layouts. You can integrate. Yeah, here you go. The layouts are just way, way nicer. You have integration with. This is how people do things like having the chat on the screen, things like that. Basically, all of that's actually coming from Streamlabs. You can have your donations coming in. You can have all of those sort of notifications popping up. All of that's actually being done through Streamlabs. Now, Streamlabs also has a web client you can use as well. Can I find it? No. Okay. It has a web client as well, and you can basically link that web client to the browser plugin and basically do the same sort of stuff like that. However, it's a bit finicky on Linux. Sometimes the browser plugin will break. Sometimes just OBS web client will break, and it's just not great. Plus, I think the Streamlabs client also has like your chat feed in it as well, so you don't need a separate application for that, and you have your donations in the feed on that screen as well, so it's not just like a separate thing on your visuals, or having like a web browser open off to the side with the online client there. So it's just all integrated nicely together. Now, the really, really annoying thing about Streamlabs OBS is the fact that it shouldn't be only available on Windows, and there's a very good reason for that. So let's actually go look up Streamlabs OBS. And what you're gonna notice is, let's see, Streamlabs OBS, and if we go search for this alongside of it, where is it? So, this right here is the Electron.js website. This right here is the Electron.js website for Streamlabs OBS. So, Streamlabs OBS is an Electron application. Why would you build something in Electron and then only release it on one operating system? Why would you even bother using Electron at that point? Oh, my phone's making noise. Because Electron, quite slow if you don't know. If you don't know, Electron is basically a desktop application or desktop framework for writing with JavaScript, which is not the best thing to do in the first place. But if you want to do it, hey, it's an easy way to get cross-platform software. So, Streamlabs OBS or Streamlabs, why is the application written in Electron and then only available on Windows? Now, I don't think it's available on macOS either. I don't know why. Actually, we're going to try this. Is this available on macOS? Streamlabs OBS. No, it is only available on Windows. Why? Why would you write it in Electron and then only release it on Windows? Now, if you don't know, the base version of OBS is available basically anywhere. You can run it on Windows, you can run it on macOS, you can run it on Linux. I think there might even be an ARM version of it. I could be wrong in that respect. We're going to go find out now. So, OBS. I very well could be wrong for that. I don't know why you'd want to use OBS on an ARM system. But, download. Let's see. Okay, maybe you can't run it on ARM. Maybe you cannot run it on ARM, but there's even a 32-bit installer as well if you want to use that. Yeah, here you go. You run on, like, anything, really. So, OBS is available on Linux. Streamlabs OBS, written in Electron, is not available on Linux. Very bizarre. So, when I do set up that capture PC, just so I can make use of Streamlabs OBS and make my life considerably easier, yeah, it's going to be like that. For the time being, however, I'm going to have to do it through like the Qt web browser because there are things I do want to record on Linux. Not a ton. Most of the stuff that I'm probably going to do is going to be a lot of game streaming, and as much as people can say that gaming on Linux is great, I'm just going to do it on Windows because it's going to be easier. I'm probably going to run a stripped down ISO, but apart from that, it's just going to be easier on Windows, which I don't like, but it's sort of just the way it is at this point. There are some games I do want to play that are supposedly working fine on Linux. Like, I've mentioned it previously, on the ProtonDB website, the rating for Ty the Tasmanian Tiger is Platinum. So, that game should work perfectly inside of Proton. Yeah. It amuses me that game just works so nicely. I guess because it's just a PS2 port, and there's no DRM going on with it or anything like that. It's just a basic PS2 port. I think they might have upgraded no, they didn't upgrade the textures. I know they added like a hard mode or something like that, but apart from that, yeah. I think the hard mode is like one death and you restart or something, which is always fun to have in a platformer. But yeah, it's just gonna be easier. I'm not getting a streaming PC or a capture PC for a while anyway, just because I don't really have the room for it, to be honest. Because right now, actually, can I kick it? Can you hear that? Maybe. That's what my PC is, and then off to the other side, I've got a little cabinet, which, yeah, you can hear that as well. So yeah, both sides of my feet are basically blocked off right now. So when I have more space, then I'll get a separate capture PC, and that should make stuff better. And what I'm probably going to do with it is just stick the GPU that's in this guy in the capture PC and upgrade the GPU in here. I might do the same thing with the like CPU and things like that as well, and just maybe recycle it like that. So I don't ever actually buy parts for the capture PC. I only ever put parts, or I guess I have to buy a hard drive and things like that, and a power supply. But besides that, I just move whatever's over here into the next one. Now, that does mean I'll have to go and clean stuff really well. But apart from that, should be fine. At least at this point, though, the capture PC isn't super important. Even though I did notice there was some weird artifacting in some of my videos, because I did switch over to GPU recording through FFmpeg VARPy. So I think I need to mess around with the settings of that, because it's not looking as good as it probably should, which is a problem, because I think it looked better with the CPU encoding. But obviously, if I can use my GPU for it, it probably makes sense. But yeah, maybe that won't be as perfect of a solution, however, when I am trying to play games. But nothing I really want to play, at least at this stage, is going to be that demanding. Like, I want to go, and I want to play Muse Dash at some point. That'll be fun. I want to go play Doom, which Doom will run on literally a calculator, so I think I'll be good in that respect. And obviously Tasmanian Tiger I want to play at some point. Tabs I want to play because I watched Gooda play it, and it looked like a ton of fun. So none of these games are really that demanding. So for now, it'll be fine. Maybe at some point I'll be like, I want to play, what are even new games at this point? I'm so out of the loop with gaming that I have no idea what's even out at this point. Maybe I want to play, like, I don't know, Call of Duty Cold War. Is that the new one? The one that has the Yuri Bezmenov clip in it? I think it is. Or like Call of Duty Warzone or Apex or something like that. I have no interest in getting into FPS games again. I used to be into them. And yeah, we'll not go into that for now. I got very, very addicted to playing them and spent too much time. It typically happens when I get into something something I really enjoy. Like, it happened with this, it happened with programming at the start, it happened with cycling, and I'm yawning again. Basically, anytime I get really into something, I will dedicate too much time to it in some respects. Now, for some things, it's too much time in a good way. For example, with the content creation here, I'm putting a lot of effort into this, at least reasonably a lot. I wish I could put more into it, but I have the uni stuff to do, which when that's done, then my life will truly end, and I will be I will probably be doing streams like every other day as well, alongside my main channel content. Yeah, we'll get to that when we get to that, though. So, where'd this come from? Right, with just regular Linuxy content, there's no issue not having a streaming PC. Unless you're trying to stream modern games, it's probably fine for the most part. I could always get myself a better GPU anyway, because it's not like... The GPU I sort of bought because I needed a GPU. I didn't buy it because I wanted a good GPU. I think it's like a RX 370, 360, something. One of the like low to mid tier AMD cards. I probably could have gone cheaper. I could, not 560, 570, whatever it is. But I will be getting a new AMD card when I do get a new graphics card, just because AMD is just better on Linux. This is not me saying like AMD is just better in general. No, it's just better on Linux because, yeah, AMD drivers are just simply better. The NVIDIA drivers are hell on Linux. On Windows, however, yeah, right now, you're probably much better getting yourself a NVIDIA card, especially considering just how ridiculous those cards are right now. So I guess that's another option. what I could do is have a dual GPU setup, run an NVIDIA card and run an AMD card, and on Windows just use the NVIDIA card, on Linux use the AMD card, and go from there. That's an option as well if I wanted to do that. But hey, yeah. I think it was a 570. Yeah, that sounds about right. But AMD hasn't really released a GPU in a while, have they? I think, yeah, this would be... We're still waiting on the Navi cards to come out, aren't we? Yeah, because this is... What's the architecture for this one? I don't know. I'm sort of out of the loop when it comes to gaming stuff and I guess hardware in general. Like, I've been paying a little bit of attention. I know about the NVIDIA cards coming out, but I haven't really been paying attention to what each individual company's doing like I used to be doing. Maybe at some point I'll start doing that again, but for now, I'm happy where I am. Yeah. It's okay. As I was saying before, it's not like I'm against using an NVIDIA card. If NVIDIA like gets their shit together on Linux, I'll be more than happy to go and buy like a 3080. Like, that would be awesome. I would love to be able to nicely run that card on Linux. It's just not happening at this point though. You can get stuff working well-ish with the Novo drivers. Sort of, sometimes. And then you have the other NVIDIA drivers, which are very, sort of sometimes as well. So AMD I've had no problems with, and it seems like most people are sort of in the same boat. If you do go buy, like say when the new Navi GPUs do come out, if you go buy it on day one, try to run it on Linux, yeah, you're going to have problems because the drivers are not going to support them properly. You can people typically work out solutions very quickly doing like kernel modifications. You can go find them on the level 1 techs forums and places like that. But as I've said before, don't buy the absolute... Have I said it before on the channel? I don't know. I'll say it now. Don't buy the absolute newest hardware if you're going to be on Linux. Give it like a couple of months. Let people go and beta test it for you, and then go and buy it. Because once they've gone beta tested it, and then you have the new kernel updates and things like that, it's generally going to be pretty stable. So don't buy a 3090 and then try to run it on Linux. Don't do that for about a year because it's probably not going to be stable at all. But you probably don't want to buy it on Linux anyway because you're not going to be able to use most of the features in the first place. Because a lot of them are like Windows sort of exclusive features, or they just haven't had a interface or I guess, yeah, interface would be a way to describe it. A way to interact with it on Linux. So those features are there, but you can't really use them. So you kind of just wasting a lot of your GPU power. Plus, if you're buying it for video rendering, GPU video rendering on Linux is just not there. I think you can do some stuff in like DaVinci Resolve relatively well, but Kden Live GPU rendering is a meme. There might be some other proprietary software where it works sort of well, but there's nothing open that is in that boat. So if you like using open software like I typically do, then you're sort of stuck in that respect. So buy an AMD card and be happy with the AMD card. Ugh. I have barely hit any of my topics today. Fucking hell. Okay, that's a first, I guess. What is this link here? Okay, what did we go? We went over annoying lighting, Unix history, face thumbnails, podcast guest. Okay, well, I guess we can talk about that. So, the last solo episode I did, I talked a bit about HololiveEN English. Now, that came out after the HololiveEN English debut streams, but I recorded it before it. Now, I should have done it in the other order, watched all the debut streams first, and then did that. But, because I didn't do that, we can go and talk about HololiveEN English right now. So, I was planning to do this right at the start of the episode, but I guess I can let people be scared off by the 30 minutes of camera talk, and then, you know, talk about the absolute weeb trash. So, if you missed out on, or if you don't know what Hololive is in general, so Hololive is a VTuber group. VTubers are basically YouTubers who use like generally an anime girl avatar, but there are a lot of male VTubers that are popping up as well. And basically, they typically do a lot of streams and just, yeah, basically, they just do what normal streamers do, but behind an anime avatar. And HololiveEN is basically the biggest agency for VTubers. And recently, there was a new generation of HololiveEN that was announced and then debuted called HololiveEN English or HololiveEN Myth. Basically, they are the first generation of the English HololiveEN members, and I'm absolutely loving them. Like I actually haven't watched everyone's debut streams. I never actually watched Ina's or Gura's streams, but I did watch Callie's live. I watched Kiara's live, and I also watched Amelia's live as well. So who do we start with? I guess we can start with Callie because she debuted first. So Calliope Mori. Here we go. So she is currently at 335,000 subscribers, which is absolutely insane. I can't believe how much HololiveEN English actually took off. I'm very happy to see it because it's been a absolute ride of a generation. So, Calliope Mori, her backstory is sort of that she is a Shinigami. She is death, and I guess she is death on hiatus right now because now she, instead of going and reaping souls, she is now a VTuber. That's sort of her backstory. Everyone in HololiveEN sort of has this weird backstory that most of them tend to forget after a couple of months and then just start basically making shit up as they go. Normally the backstory is there so they can talk about things that are happening in their real life, but sort of hide some of the details. So she'll talk about how a lot of the time she's, like, when she has to run for, like, at the end of a stream, she has to go to, like, scythe swinging lessons, things like that, where obviously that's not a real thing, but it's sort of part of the I guess, the lore, and part of the, just a way that they can talk about what's happening in their real life or keeping a separate identity, basically. So, with Callie's debut stream, I was ready to click off of it as soon as it started because if you haven't seen it, basically at the start of the stream, she was pretending to be like a, super cutesy anime girl. She was saying things like tee-hee, like actually just saying the words tee-hee, and I was like, okay, I'm fucking done. I want to click off of this because I've seen English VTubers who try to do this before, and it sounds really, really annoying. And then it turns out that was all a joke and like all an absolute meme because she's actually really into internet rap and or Japanese internet rap, and then she debuted her first song, like in the stream itself, which the Japanese name for that was Shitsure Shimashita Shinde Kudasai, which the English name for that is excuse my rudeness, but could you please rip? And if you have not heard this song, it is, I don't know how to explain this song. It is an absolute banger. I've listened to it so many times at this point. Yeah, go listen to this rap. It is absolutely phenomenal. And after you've listened to that, go listen to the EP named track, I guess, called Deadbeats, which is a weird track, but it's really good. Honestly, all the songs on her first EP are absolutely phenomenal, and I would recommend listening to all of them. Yeah. In the debut stream, people started freaking out when she first started swearing, and because she was sort of like, oh, I shouldn't swear on stream, and then she dropped her debut song, and that all of that pretense sort of went out the window. Typically, she still, doesn't like to swear a lot on stream, but hey, I can respect that. I don't particularly care myself, but yeah, go watch Callie's. Just go watch anything Callie's ever put out, actually, and you'll have fun. I recommend starting with Shitsure Shimashita Shinde Kudasai because it's good. I'm not going to play it because obviously I can't play it on stream or on a recording, but Just take my word for it that it's fucking fantastic. Now, going on from Calliope Mori, we have our favorite octopus. We have Inanis Ninomai, who has 282,000 subscribers at this point. So, a lot of her streams are... I guess she's actually... Wow, she's streamed way less than everyone else has. What the hell? Callie has been doing streams literally every day, but Ina doesn't really have that many. Huh. Maybe she deleted some? I don't know. Because this is actually very quiet. I thought she'd done more than this. Anyway, so her backstory is she is the... she's actually a human, unlike most of the other members of Hololive Myth. So I didn't mention that before. Basically, all the theme for this generation is they're all either mythical creatures or have something mythical about them. So Callie being death, and then you have Inanis or Ina, who is she is a human, supposedly, but she has been contacted by the Ancient Ones, as she refers to them. She found a magical book and then became some sort of octopus Cthulhu monster of some description. But she still claims that she is human, even though she's got this little, tentacle hair here, which is adorable and looks really squishy. But I think her personality probably fit with her, I guess, her character design as probably much more than Callie's did, for sure. Callie was sort of a big difference from what a lot of people sort of expected from her. Especially, I didn't mention that about her. She also likes to do 250 yen drinking streams. She'll go buy like the cheapest wine she can find and just get absolutely drunk on that, which is lots of fun every time it happens. But Ina, she likes to do a lot of drawing streams. She's also been playing Call of Cthulhu as well, which I haven't watched those streams, but it seems like a fun game. But she'll do a lot of drawing streams, a lot of chatting streams. And if you haven't checked out her Twitter and actually seen some of her art, actually no, good example of her art. She does all of her own art for her thumbnail. So anything that's drawn like this is basically something that she's done herself. So this one right here, draw herself, that one is intentionally not supposed to be good. Same with this one here, but then you have this one here that's absolutely amazing, or the Surgeon Simulator one, which is also absolutely amazing as well. And if you go watch, I think the second part of the Amelia drawing stream, you'll see how good she actually is at drawing. I would recommend going watching it. It's really nice and calming to have in the background. It's unlike, say, Kiara's streams, which are very, very hyper. When it comes to Ina's streams, it's nice to just have it on the background, just have a bit of background noise, and sort of learn a bit more about digital art, because she's been doing it for like 10 or so years, I think she said. And you end up learning a lot about like what different image layers and things do, like like the multiply or the I'm forgetting names of things. Basically, the layers that you have in a lot of drawing applications, you start to learn what they actually do, because she'll talk about the process she's going through as she's actually drawing them. Or drawing the images. So, yeah, if you want to learn a bit about digital art, go watch Ina's streams, because they're nice and she is adorable. And, yeah. Actually, I think we went in the wrong order. So I think Kiara was supposed to be second, but I guess we can go look at Kiara now. So, Kiara, Hololive. So, here we have Takanashi Kiara, who is a chicken, or claims to be a phoenix. I'm not actually subscribed to Kiara. Huh, okay. I haven't actually watched many of Kiara's streams, just because I feel like she is the most boring member of Hololive English. Not because she's boring per se, but because she's so... With Callie, she was so different from all the other members of Hololive that it was sort of like a refreshing look at the, I guess, way that you can be a VTuber. And then same with Ina. Ina is very quiet and does lots of drawing streams, which is sort of a bit different from what you normally see with a lot of the other Hololive members. All of them are very, like, hyper and, you know, always, like, raring to go. And Kiara's sort of in that same sort of boat, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. If you want another like hyper stream or anything like that, yeah, go check out Kiara's streams. But personally, they're a bit too much for me. It's sort of like how I can't really watch an entire stream from Luna because it's just a bit too much hyper. Yeah, but from what I've seen with her with other people, like when she's with like Callie on one of her streams or Ina or Amelia, like in those streams, I like it's good. But when she's by herself, like I feel like it's a bit much for me to deal with. Now, as I said, her thing is that she is a phoenix, or as people have started to call her, she is just a chicken. Also because her little like emoji mark thingy is a chicken as well, so she is a chicken. As much as he wants to deny it, she is a chicken. Also, her dream supposedly is to start up a a fast food chain and call it KFP or Kentucky Fried Phoenix. And someone, I'm going to show you this website because it is absolutely amazing. So, can we find it in my history? Phoenix. Yes. Not Kentucky, Kiara, what am I saying? Kiara Fried Phoenix. We don't want to be too close to another sort of name that exists. Here is the website for Kiara Fried Phoenix. And it is fantastic. I don't know who put this thing together, but there's a lot of jokes you probably won't get unless you actually go and watch some of Kiara's streams, like the presidential bucket, which is a 53-piece bucket because, as she claims, she eats 53 nuggets every single day. We'll see how one of the drinks is Dr. Oopsie, which is Ina's favorite drink, which is not like any other sort of drink that has doctor in its name, not at all. But this website, it actually looks really good, like way too good. I don't know where all of these pictures came from. I don't know who decided that making this was a good idea. But it's fantastic. And the team is also great. So the president is Takanashi Kiara, the colonel. The chief executive officer, the CEO, is Takanashi Kiara. The chief financial officer is Takanashi Kiara. The head of board of directors is Takanashi Kiara. Every other corporate executive is also Takanashi Kiara. Then the head of marketing is Yagu, which is the CEO of Cover Corp, the company behind HololiveEN. The head of sales is Yagu. The head of advertising is also Yagu. The QA lead is Yagu. And the head bouncer is Yagu in sunglasses. Which is a beautiful picture and I love it. Then the head chef is Amelia Watson, which is very dangerous, as I'll tell you about when we get to Amelia's section. And the head of accounting is Callie, and the branch manager is Sir Bloop B. Bloopington. Now, Bloop we'll also get back to in just a bit. That is Gura's mascot. So, yeah, as I was saying before, Kiara is a bit too much for me to handle. At least on her own. When you put her with someone else, she's always fun. And also, she likes to start her streams by saying Kikiriki. I'm not going to say it the same way she says it. Kikiriki. There we go. This is as much as you're going to get from me. And Callie likes to bully her by saying it Kikiriki. Also, Kiara is madly in love with Callie. And Callie is a tsundere. So, yeah. All fun. So, third member we have is, because we went in the wrong order anyway, we'll just go, I guess we can fix up the order. We're going to go to Gao Gura. Actually, no. We will skip Gura because I want to talk about Gura in another way in a bit. So we'll go to Amelia Watson, who is the chief detective of HololiveEN English. Actually, I think she's the only detective in all of HololiveEN, so she's the best detective by default. Also, I guess she's also a time traveler, which wasn't part of her initial backstory, but she's now a time traveler as well. So, yeah. So, Amelia's streams are mainly Apex stuff lately. She's also doing like Superliminal and stuff. She likes to play a lot of puzzle games by the looks of it, and also a lot of FPS. She's really good at FPS games, like really, really fucking good. Also, she's a very angry player as well, and as soon as someone pisses her off, yeah, you're gonna hear about it on the stream. Unlike Callie, she has no problems cursing people out. Also, go look up a clip. I think if you look up Hololive English Ahoy, you'll find it. I'm not gonna say it now because I don't know. I don't want YouTube Coon to yeet the video. Yeah, just go look up Hololive English Ahoy and you'll find it. Or Hololive English Hosho Marin and you'll find it as well. Either will work. Yeah. But Amelia's stream, her debut stream was a bit bizarre. So she started it with a very, very fake British accent, like incredibly fake. So fake, in fact, that I don't think I can fake how badly faked it was. Just imagine the worst British accent you can think of, and that was what Amelia was trying to do. So she did that. It was a bizarre stream, a very bizarre stream, and then she brought out her bizarre concoction. So there is, I don't know how it's happened, but there is this. There's okay, so we have Kiryu Koko, who sells Asakoko, which is supposed to be her some sort of magical drug which makes you obsessed with Hololive. I don't know how the Hololive staff approved, drug dealing dragons, but somehow it happened. And now we have Amelia's stream where she brought out her weird syringe and started messing with some weird effects, and that went on for like 15 or 20 minutes where basically she was just messing with dumb effects and doing dumb faces, and that's basically what we got from that. I don't think she's brought out her concoction since that point. Maybe for a big stream it'll happen. I don't know. Also, if you go over to her Twitter, she likes to give out coupons. Coupons drawn in MS Paint. Like this one right here. Obviously this one's not a coupon, but it's in this same sort of style here. So if you want to go see some very poorly drawn stuff in MS Paint, go subscribe to Amelia's Twitter account, I guess, or go follow her Twitter account. Before we go on, that actually reminds me. In Ina's, I think it was her latest stream, she mentioned the fact that people were sending a lot of lewds of her and putting them in the main art tag, and people were like, oh my god, I guess we shouldn't be sending lewds or something like that. And no, her entire argument was, no, keep sending me lewds, but don't put them in the main art tag. I think she hasn't decided on an official lewd tag, which I think she'd be the first member of Hololive. No, sorry. Luna has an official lewd tag as well. But besides Luna, I guess she'd be the second member of Hololive now to have an official lewd tag. People in the chat, Ina never decided this for herself. People in the chat were like, okay, what should it be called? Cthulhu's. And now there's people posting stuff on Cthulhu's. I don't think anyone's actually using it properly yet, just because Ina hasn't announced it as the official tag. But at some point, there will be Ina Ludes on Cthulhu's. So go check that out, I guess, if you want to see that. Yeah. And last but definitely not least, in fact, is my second favorite member of HololiveEN, is Gaogura, who has been getting a lot of attention outside of the Hololive sphere because of a certain very salty YouTuber who has no relevance and is trying to make herself relevant by attacking people. So we have Gaogura, who is a shark, as she likes to say. And yeah, she played Plug and Play, which is a it's an experience. Basically, her backstory is that she's a shark. And every stream, she starts it with some shark facts and some Gura shark facts. So if you want to learn about sharks, go watch Gura's streams, I guess. Typically, she does a lot of gaming streams. She doesn't do that many just talking streams like Ina or Amelia does. I guess Ina does probably the most. The most for how many streams she actually does. She doesn't stream that often, which I didn't even realize. Even though I watch her streams a lot, so I didn't realize she didn't stream that much. But yeah, Gura's streams are a lot of gaming stuff, and she played Dark Deception, and she was chased around by monkeys, and Maneater, where she was a shark, and Muse Dash. Oh, there we go, Muse Dash. She is an absolute god at Muse Dash. I don't know how. Just go watch her play. I think there's one clip in here where she plays Fubiki's song. That I don't remember the name of it. Fanfare? Is that it? Yeah. She plays Fubiki's song and plays it on master mode and doesn't get an S rank on it. Gets a perfect combo except for missing one note, which is insane if you've ever watched anyone play Muse Dash. I'm bad at. I'm relatively bad at rhythm games. Yeah, especially now that I'm a bit rusty. But as I said before, Bloop is her mascot, also known as her her emergency rations. Yeah, she keeps Bloop around because Bloop is emergency rations. So yeah, I don't know which stream it was that she played Fubiki's song. If it was the first, I think it was the second Muse Dash stream. I didn't know she did two of them actually. That's, okay. Anyway, she is at 518,000 subscribers now. For reference, the largest member of HololiveEN is Fubuki, and Fubuki has, I haven't looked at her channel in a while. Her channel has 898. Oh, don't start playing that. That's her song. Definitely don't start playing that. 898,000 subscribers, which is insane. But Gura started 2 weeks ago and just absolutely shot up the HololiveEN rankings. I think she's like just behind Suse at this point. So yeah, which is insane. I didn't think Gura would be at 500,000 in basically no time at all. I was expecting Callie's channel to take off the most because Callie dropped her EP straight away, but I guess because of the controversy that happened with Gura, yeah, it didn't go that way. Now, so we'll keep this tab open for just a bit, but I'll show you someone else. So there is a very sad person called Brittany Venti. So Brittany Venti basically has a vendetta against Gura, because I don't know, she has nothing better going on with her life or something. So let's see. Jesus Christ. She made almost an hour of videos on Gal Gura. Also, why is this titled a YouTube link? Is that because you don't want more people to watch it or something? So 12% like to dislike ratio. Like this, okay, before that, like her like to dislike ratio wasn't really that bad. Then after that, it's not great. It's not terrible here, but yeah. Anyway, so she made a lot of videos on Gal Gura because she's claiming that people who like Gura are basically all pedophiles, which is a hilarious take. And obviously people who like Gura, not particularly happy with that, or people just who like HololiveEN in general, not particularly happy with that. So those videos got sort of like and dislike bomb. Now, Gura, being the absolute legend that she is, didn't address this by being sad on Twitter or demanding an apology or, I don't know, taking Britney to court. No, the way that Gura decided to address this, because in the second video, Britney basically said that Gura acts like a baby and that's why people like her. So, what she did is, in the video where she played Among the Sleep, you can't really read it here, but in this thumbnail here, she puts goo goo gaga lol, which is an absolute perfect way to address that. Just don't address that Britney even exists. Just address the fact that you know about the video and just completely mock it. Now, why could Britney not like Gura? Could it potentially be that she has 518,000 subscribers and makes thousands of dollars every single time she streams and Britney is jealous? Could that be it? I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe she actually has a actual problem with Gura existing, which doesn't make any sense because we also have characters like Luna who exist. So and this is how I know that she has absolutely no idea what she's talking about when it comes to HololiveEN. So if we go have a look at Luna's channel, where is Himeno? I can't say her name. Luna. Okay. So here is, actually, I'm not going to show her thumbnails because Luna likes to use lewd art of herself. Are we safe here? Yes, we are safe here. Okay. So Luna's entire shtick early on was that she is literally 0 years old. Luna is literally 0 years old. That was the joke, and that she didn't know basically anything. So this is how I know that Brittany Venti has no idea what she's talking about when it comes to HololiveEN, because Luna has existed since fourth gen. I'm gonna say 4th gen. And yeah, if you go watch some of Luna's early stuff, especially when she was first meeting Matsuri, yeah, some of the conversations that happened there and some of the things that she was pretending not to know about, obviously she knew about. So, Luna, Himemori Luna. Luna fits that sort of idea that Britney was trying to get at much more closely. Gura, if you actually watch Gura's streams, not at all like what Britney thinks they are. She has no idea what she's talking about. She might have watched like 10 seconds of a clip, like, oh, she's small and she's cute. Therefore, but go watch some of Luna's clips with Matsuri. Especially there's a clip in Arc where they were trying to breed pterodactyls. And yeah, then tell me that Gura is the one who is acting like a baby. Now, I don't think that either is a problem. But if you do, Britney, at least get your facts straight. At least research what you're talking about before you start trying to slander people. That's what I have to say. Yeah. So anyway, ignoring the crazy people who don't like HololiveEN, honestly, just don't even bother going to Britney's channel. Just forget that she exists, let her fade into obscurity, and just go and watch your HololiveEN and enjoy it. That's what I have to say about that. So I have been watching a lot of HololiveEN clips recently. I've been, basically whenever I have some free time and I just need some noise in the background, I probably have someone's stream going, whether that be one of Ina's streams, one of Amelia's streams, Callie, or Gura. As I said, not one of Kiara's, but I'm probably going to have someone's stream going on because it's fun and I enjoy it. I think that's pretty much all I can say about HololiveEN English. Yeah, we'll do absolute weeb pronunciation. Yeah. So going on from that actually leads me into two sort of things I want to do at some point. So ever since I started watching Ina's streams, actually before that really, I was sort of thinking about it before that, and then Ina's streams sort of made me think about it again. I want to get into digital art, not necessarily for like actually getting doing like drawings and stuff like that. But I do want to start. Oh, obviously, I'm gonna draw because it's digital art, but not because I want to start like doing drawing stuff for other reasons. But I think it would be a good idea to have that skill set there to make it so it's easy to actually go and actually make my own channel art, because obviously it's all well and good to go and bring someone in, actually go and commission someone to do some art for you. But the problem you get when you're trying to commission art is you have to explain your vision to someone else, which is, if you've never had to do before, is an absolute hell to do. Some people are like, obviously some people are going to be easier to work with than with others, but no matter the sort of person you're working with, there's always going to be a barrier when you're trying to explain what you want to see happen and what they think you want to see happen. So if you can actually make this art yourself, it actually removes that much that barrier from you. Now, obviously, you still have the problem where you need to actually have the skill to make the art look good, but that's something that can come with time. So I'm thinking of doing that, and then maybe when I start streaming, I'll also start doing some drawing streams as well, because that just sounds like fun. Because when I do start streaming, I don't just want to do, I'm gonna game stream every day. I want to have shows, because shows are the way that you build a stream. That is the reason why people like Ludwig. That's the reason why people like Devin Nash. That's the reason why most of the big streamers who don't get big off of just like being really good at a game actually get big, or be in the right place at the right time, such as if you're like Ninja. Obviously, Ninja is good at Fortnite, but he's not big. Like, there are people who play Fortnite who are better than Ninja. The reason why is because he was good at talking and in the right place at the right time, and was good enough where his gameplay was interesting. But most people typically need to have some sort of show structure, and that's what I'm going to be doing when I do start streaming. So maybe I'll do some art streams. That could be fun. I don't know really. Well, obviously, I'll have the game streams. I'll probably, right now I'm thinking Q&A streams, game streams, drawing streams, and maybe just general hangout streams. Now, probably the Q&A and I don't know what streams I want to do on the main channel, because I do want to. What I'm thinking of doing is when I do start the streaming, I will do a stream on the main channel and then do a stream somewhere else. So it might be like a shorter stream on the main channel and then like 2 or so extra hours on something else. Or I won't do it every day, maybe like once a week or something like that, just so I can push people from the main channel to these other places where I make content. Because otherwise it's sort of like starting from scratch all over again, whereas even though everyone who watches my main channel content may not be actually interested in this other content I do, it's still better than starting from literally nothing, because there might maybe like 5 or 10 people come over, maybe 100 people come over, I don't know. But making use of that existing fan base that's already there is much better than going from literally nothing. Yeah, because if you have that viewership already, you might as well see if they are interested in other things you do, because some people watch your content because they're just interested in your personality rather than just being interested in the main content of the videos. Which I always find weird, but there are people who say, oh, I'm not using this software and this software doesn't really interest me, but I like listening to your videos. Which, hey, is cool. I don't get why. I don't feel like my insights are really that impressive, but if that's what you want to do, then hey, maybe maybe you'll enjoy some other stuff I do as well. Maybe you'll enjoy me playing games and sort of just rambling about whatever's going on, or answering questions, things like that. I think maybe the Q&A streams will make sense to be on the main channel, because that's where I'm going to get most of the questions actually coming from. So it might make sense to do that there and then direct people to somewhere else when I want to do something else. But, not too sure. I don't know. I'll work it out. But the other thing I want to do, also because I'm a massive weeb, is I've honestly been thinking about picking up Japanese at some point, actually trying to properly learn the language. What I'm thinking of doing is, while I'm still at uni, I'm gonna go and download all of the lectures for the Japanese classes because they can't stop me doing it. They've got it so you can actually go and download lectures from any classes right now. So I'm thinking of doing that, and I don't know. It's not because I ever want to move to the country, but it's actually just because of Weeb reasons. I kind of just want to watch Japanese streams and watch anime without subs. Like, I'm not even going to pretend like I'm doing this for any other sort of productive reason. It's literally just for that reason. Plus, once again, this could actually make interesting stream content. Like, I could do a kanji reading stream or something like that, or I can't, like, there's apps you can use where you have to, like, try to work out what the kanji says. That could be a fun stream. I don't know, I'd be really bad at it right now because I haven't started, so I probably won't do it for like a year or two. But I still think that actually could be kind of neat to do. I don't know, it's something I wanted to do for a while, and if I'm going to be doing it, I might as well try to monetize it as well. It just makes sense if that's something. If I'm going to be streaming anyway, I might as well be streaming things that I'm actually really interested interested in, rather than just, I'm going to play part 57 of Dark Souls today. That I do want to play Dark Souls on stream though. I haven't played it in so long. I'll be very bad at it, but I still want to do it. Yeah. I'm almost out of water as well, which is sad. Maybe I need a second water bottle when I stream, or when I do podcasts or something. I don't know. Maybe. But we have been going for nearly 2 hours anyway, so I might be wrapping it up in like 10 or 15 minutes anyway, so it's not really that big of a deal. Okay, so yeah, I don't really have much else to say on the wanting to learn Japanese topic. I don't really have any. Okay, first thing I need to do is work out a way to work out how to work it out. Yeah. Work out where I should start, because I know obviously you have like immersion training and stuff where I can pick, like, at this point I have been listening to enough Japanese speech where I can at least follow the rough idea of the conversation. I have no idea how to actually speak the language, but I can at least understand the, I guess enough pieces of the language where I can understand where it's going. But I want to actually properly be able to know the language and actually, be able to enjoy stuff like that. Because there's also, say, light novels I want to read, which are just simply not translated into English. And I think that would be, I don't know, I think that would just be fun. I think if you're going to learn a second language, it makes more sense to do it on your own time rather than being forced to do it in school. Like, I did, I think, a year of German back in primary school, and I don't remember any of that really. I think I remember how to like count to 3 in a really bad pronunciation. But if you go out of your way to do it and actually do it because it's something you want to do rather than something you're forced to do, I think most people are probably going to put a bit more effort into it. I don't know how much effort I'll put into it. It might be something like with YouTube where I'm like, okay, I'm putting way too much time into this at this point. Maybe that's what's going to happen. I don't know. But yeah, I'm remotely worried about how much time I put into it, but I think that I've gotten better at time management at this point, where even though I'm going to really enjoy doing something, I still know that I actually have other things I should be doing with my life. So I can't put, 12 hours a day in it like I did back when I played RuneScape. Speaking of things I may potentially stream, I have some friends who play RuneScape, so would that even make an interesting stream though? RuneScape is a boring fucking game. And I'd only be playing it on stream anyway, because I know that if I play it off stream, I will play way too much of it. I think maybe it'll make good background for like a Q&A or something, because you don't really need to think about what you're doing. It's just like, okay, I have 10,000 logs to burn today. I'm going to do this for the next 8 hours. Yeah. So maybe it'll make good background for a Q&A. Could do that. I don't know. I did hear that RuneScape's apparently coming to Steam. Like, old school RuneScape or something. I don't know if that's actually something that's happening. But I did hear something about it. It could just be it's autofilling on Google. Nope, it's actually coming to Steam. Okay, I guess. Okay, it's not old school. It's modern day RuneScape. Or maybe, yeah, it's coming to Steam in October. That's actually really cool. If I do go and play it, I'll probably be playing old school, just because I don't know. Maybe I'll play new RuneScape. I don't know. I've never actually played the newer version of it. I kind of quit before RS3 dropped. I think I quit during RS3's beta, when everyone was like really pissed off that RS3 was actually coming out. Like, why are you completely changing the way that combat actually works? Where is that? Is that Al-Kharid? I feel like that might be the mine in Al-Kharid, but I haven't seen it in so long that I have no idea. Is that rune armor? Is that how rune armor looks now? What the hell? Maybe it's not. I don't know. There's a house portal back there. Is that Draenor? That might be Draenor. I don't know that. That might be a new place. That's definitely new there. So let's see. Okay, let's see what stuff looks like. So this is the Wildy. Red Dragons of the Wildy, yep. RuneScape. Yeah, let's see if we can recognize some towns. Okay. Myths the Lane. Was that there the entire time? I don't think it was. I recognize this. Think this. Maybe? Wait, maybe they've changed names of places. Asgarnia. Wait, where is that on the map? Asgarnia. That might be a new place, actually. Yeah, Korean Desert definitely looks a bit different from the way it used to look, for sure. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I'll play RuneScape on stream. As I said, I'm thinking of doing old school, just because that's sort of where I have friends actually playing old school RuneScape. Yeah, old school RuneScape. Tell me this one. Is this coming to Steam? Oh, and old school Okay, both versions of RuneScape are coming to Steam. Apparently. That's cool. Yeah, that's cool. And that'll be out in 2021. But most people play old school RuneScape. At least a lot of people I know play old school RuneScape with like RuneLite and other clients like that. So they probably won't even use the Steam version of it. But I guess after 20 years, RuneScape is finally going to be on Steam, which is odd. Sure. I don't know why Jagex decided to do that now of all times, but hey, yeah, I don't know. Oh, speaking of making things more interesting, I feel like for the solo podcast, at least, I kind of need some background music, because I don't know how interesting they actually are. I know some people use background music for their, like, for streams, but I don't use any for the podcast, and maybe it will fit. I know some people like to just hear podcasts as just a podcast and no audio in the background, or no music in the background. Maybe it's different. I don't know. I might ask some people about it on Twitter or something, or ask people on the YouTube channel. But I'm thinking about trying it, but then I think about the fact that when I listen to podcasts, I kind of listen to them when I'm just walking around, and I don't really have a problem with it. It's just sort of from my side, it feels like maybe it's a bit boring. I don't know. I guess we do have 195 subs on the main channel, on the podcast channel now anyway, so maybe people are enjoying it as it is. Maybe I'll just keep it as it is. I definitely will be using background music when I do start streaming, though. Streaming is something where you sort of need background music. I'm going to be very picky with what I choose, because I don't want my channel to be yeeted. So I'll either have to commission something, or I will use stuff that I know is okay to use. Because I know that some people just use any old music, and that's a problem waiting to happen. So maybe I'll go dig through Incompetech, or there's other places you can find some good music to use as well, where you can actually license the music. Or I guess the other option is to get a Monster Cat license to do that. That's also a good way to do it. So yeah, there's a couple of topics I didn't hit on, but none of them are really that important. At least it's that important that I can't come back to at a later time. Let me just delete them, see what we have left. English. Yeah, okay. So what I got, actually, that I might come back to that at some point. I was going to talk about some of the new anime that's coming out for the next season, because by the time that this comes out, I think that season has actually started. But I think that topic will go for like an hour. So I might do that after the season actually starts or something. I don't know. Because I haven't even decided what seasonals I'm going to be watching that season. So I do know that there's a new season of Love Live and a new season of Gochiusa coming out though. So also Mahoka, which is weird. I don't actually know. We're just going to look at it briefly. I'm not going to go as deep into it as I was planning to. But if you haven't seen the chart for next season, so we have Haikyuu to the top 2. So this is the next season of Haikyuu. If you're not watching Haikyuu, you are doing yourself a massive disservice. This is an absolutely amazing sports series. Dungeon ni de wa motomeru wa machigateru daroka season 3. So that's the 3rd season of Danmachi. Definitely watch that. I have read that arc. I hope they don't ruin it like they ruined the last arc. If they don't, it will be fantastic. If they do, it won't be fantastic. We also have Mahoka. I don't know why there's another season of Mahoka coming out. The first season of that came out years ago. But yeah, that's coming out. Also, the remake of Higurashi no Naku no Koro ni. Or Naku... So we'll try that again. Higurashi no Naku Koro ni. There we go. I don't know why we're getting a remake of Higurashi. I really, really hope it's good, because this is my favorite series. So I hope it's good. I very much hope it's good. Also, there's a Noblesse series coming out for some reason. Didn't expect that anytime. There's some things that I don't recognize too much. There seems to be a lot of isekai garbage, which I'm always happy to see. If you don't know, I love isekai garbage. Golden Kamui, which I did not enjoy the first season of. I might need to go back to it, because apparently it's actually good. Yeah, I might need to go back to that one. And we also have Iwa Kakuru Sports Climb. It's a climbing series. It's a female climbing series. Why this exists? Don't know. But the fact that it does is really cool. And Gochuman wa Usagi desu ka Bloom. 3rd season of Gochiusa, which is adorable, and I will love it. So I will be watching that, even though I'm probably going to start it like 7 weeks after it's actually started, because I still have to finish off uni. We have a new Shaft series. Oh, I did not realize that was a Shaft series. I did not realize that was a Shaft series. Okay, Assault Lily Bouquet. I will absolutely love this, because it's Shaft, and if there's cute girls and it's Shaft, it's probably going to be cute girls getting murdered. Because that's what Shaft does, because they made Madoka. Yeah, so that's probably going to be good. Also, basically anything that Shaft touches basically turns to gold. So even though it might look like trashy anime, it's Shaft, so I trust them. And a Kuma Bear. I don't know what this is, but it looks cute. But this is what I'm actually excited for, because 3rd installment of Love Live. We are getting the Nijigasaki High School Idol Club girls. Finally, after like 4 years, I think they were announced. The PDP girls finally getting their own anime. So, Love Live, Nijigasaki Gakuen School Idol I can't say. Dokokai. There we go. Let's hope that the third installment isn't literally the first season, but with different girls in it. Because that's what was Aqua's series called? Sunshine? No, that's not right. What was the Aqua series called? Labu, Daibu, and where is it? Where is Wikipedia? Why are you shit? Anime. Daibu. No, that's just for the original series. Why can I not find it? Let's go to Sunshine. Yes, it was Sunshine. Okay. So yeah, hopefully, unlike Sunshine, it's not like, okay, we are the exact same thing as the first season, but we're actually shit. Let's hope that's not what actually happens because, yeah. I don't want to see that happen again because I didn't. The first series of Love Live was really good, and I want to kind of get back to things being good. Will it happen? I don't know. I'll let you know when I actually start watching it, which will probably be halfway through the season is actually over. But what else do we have on this list? Anything of note besides those ones? Maojo de Oyasumi. I don't know. We'll get back. I might do another solo episode at some point and actually go through this list and talk about things that the trailers I've watched at least. But yeah, I haven't actually watched any of the trailers yet, so I can't really give you much of a proper opinion on anything here besides the things that are sequels. We have a Mappa series, which Mappa's always fun. What is this? Oh, it's a gymnastics series. I feel like this is going to be like Yuri on Ice. I have feelings that this might be like Yuri on Ice. I have nothing to quantify that yet, but very well could happen. Also, another season of Strike Witches, which, hey, more Strike Witches is always fun. And I don't think there's anything else really of note to talk about. Oh, third season of Osomatsu-san, for some reason. Even though second season, not great, I guess. And Trashy Magical Girl. I haven't seen the previous season, but it might be good. As for the TV short, anything of note in here? Nothing that I'm really seeing. But there is the Kimetsu no Yaiba movie, which will be fun. And Burn the Witch, which also apparently is going to be really good. Date a Bullet, Nightmare, or Queen. I guess, is that part of the Date Alive series? I guess it probably is. I haven't watched Date Alive in so long. There's the Kudwafter is getting an adaptation. Okay. Also a new Pokemon movie, but that happens every year. Also, Pretty Cure crossover. Cool. I don't think there's really anything else to talk about then. So I think we will wrap it up there because I've run out of water and I want to go make some lunch as well. So I think next time I do a solo episode, we'll go over the Annie chart properly. Maybe I'll do that in like 2 weeks or so. I don't know. Actually, yeah, maybe like 34 will be a solo episode. And, yeah, 34, I reckon I can do a solo episode and then still fit in the talk with Electron. So maybe I'll hold off the Brian episode until like 36 or something. I don't know. I'll see what I decide to do. Maybe I won't do a solo episode, but I do kind of want to actually talk about this stuff, so I don't know. Anyway, I think that is pretty much everything for me. But before we go, I need to thank my supporters. So, a special thank you to Joachim, Corbinion, Andrew, Craig, Nathan, Monster, Joseph, Peter D, Road, Tony, Brennan, Donald, John, Marek, Mikkel, Nate Dog, Nephite, Tease, and Zilva. If you want to go and support my work, there'll be some links down below to my Patreon, Subscribestar, LibrePay, all of that sort of stuff. I've got my main channel, that is Brody Robertson, available on Library, Odyssey, BitChute, YouTube, plenty of places. This podcast, if you're watching the video version, is also available as an audio release pretty much anywhere. And the audio release listeners, this is available on Library, Odyssey, YouTube. I think that's it for the podcast, actually. So if you want to watch the video version, actually see the stuff I'm talking about, that's always an option for you guys to listen to as well. So I think that's pretty much everything for me. I'm going to play out the outro, and we will end off the recording there. Wherever my music thing is, there you go. Thank you for listening to episode 31 of Take of a Tea. That is probably the best place to end it. So, thank you guys for listening. I'll catch you guys next week with a guest on the show. It will be, at this stage, the Digital Life, which is a small Linux creator with about 1,000 subscribers or something. And he seems like a pretty cool dude. So, catch you guys then. I'm out.